Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of the Performance Cafe. It is lovely to have you with us, and I'm really enjoying this trip through the pages of self-leadership that we are taking as we learn together about how to become better self-leaders. So today I want to talk about how your self-leadership actually enhances the lives of others. Because when we say self-leadership, we think about how do I lead myself? And we don't really think of it that actually has an impact on other people. Now, this is incredibly important, not just as members of society, but even as team managers and managers of managers in certain cases, where the way that we are able to portray and manage ourselves really shows up as a form of a role model for those around us. So we're going to take a look at 10 reasons why self-leadership is really important for those around you. The first is enhanced self-awareness. Now, how I know myself, how much I understand myself, really comes into play with I'm working with others because I can better understand and empathize with my team members. I can better foster more supportive and cohesive team environments because I understand that people are a collection of things. I'm not just putting little widgets into holes. A team is a very dynamic environment, and each unit in the team, each person has their own dynamics and their own preferences, their own values, their own strengths. And I can understand it by having to lead myself. I understand how I need to help others lead themselves, as well as lead them as their manager directly. So next up is the second point, which is improved emotional intelligence. So when I have more emotional intelligence, it makes me so much better at interpersonal relationships because, as I said previously, we can act with empathy and sensitivity, and we can lead to better communication, better conflict resolution, maybe even a bit of, forestalling of conflict, and it supports overall team harmony. Next up, when we take a look at people who are good at self-leadership, they're normally quite accountable and responsible. And this fosters a culture of accountability within the team that works for them, because the team members are more likely to take responsibility for their actions and contribute positively towards team goals because their own manager shows that level of personal responsibility and self-leadership. Right. The fourth thing, greater resilience and adaptability. Well, what's better than a role model who actually can roll with the punches, who actually can go with the flow? And we saw this so much in COVID, where so many people said, oh, well, I feel kind of lost. And so does my manager. And like the whole organization is battling. And we saw so many of them go through that, right? But actually, when we have such high resilience, and when we, as people who are good at self-leadership, when we have that resilience, it inspires and motivates team members not only to be more adaptable in the face of difficulties, but they are also more likely to stay focused. Because what happens is the moment that one person doesn't have the resilience and adaptability, it causes a lot of insecurity in the rest of the team. And then they battle to be resilient. And that just starts a whole chain reaction of inconsistency and a lack of performance. Next up, clear vision and goal setting. So as someone who practices self-leadership, I have a clear vision, I have well-defined goals. The lovely thing about this is that the team will always get an appropriate amount of direction and purpose because they'll understand their role and the importance of their contributions to this overall team purpose. Next up, we've got increased credibility and trust. So I practice self-leadership, and therefore I have trust and credibility with team members. And they would probably respect someone like that and want to be like that and want to be part of that team. And they would want to follow someone who also practices what they preach. So that's why it's great for them. It gives them certainty and something to strive for. Then enhanced problem-solving skills. So the benefit to others is that the better I am as a manager at effective problem solving, the better decisions I'm going to make. the more innovative I can be in my solutions, the more the entire team and organization will benefit from it, because I'm able to make that decision, because I'm able to call the shots when times are tough. And that, again, it just provides that sense of certainty to the team that someone is at the helm. Right? Empowerment and development of others, I've mentioned right in the beginning already, but it's more empowering for team members to take initiative and develop their self-leadership skills when they have got a leader who knows how to self-lead. Right? This creates a more dynamic, more motivated, and more high-performing team, because they are going to feel like there is confidence in the team, there's confidence in them, and they feel like they've got a manager that they can show confidence in. Number 9, better stress management. Well, I think this one's quite obvious, right? We've all had the manager who comes in and drops papers on the desk and is like very vocal and very upset because it's year end or financial year end, or the results have come in and they're terrible, or whatever it is. And that person brings not only the news or the content that they want to talk to us, but they bring all of that emotional baggage as well because of the stress that they're going through. So if we self-manage well, we are self-aware and we understand how things affect us, we are then also emotionally intelligent. Remember, we spoke about that. That means that we can then go and say, what of this message really needs to reach my team? And how do I create a stable and a positive work environment for them with lower stress levels by me not contributing? Say we're going to be stress-free. It's business, right? It's the world of work. But how do I reduce that impact for them? And then lastly, consistency and reliability. So I think it's already been mentioned in some way or other, but consistency in leadership provides stability and predictability for our team members. So this allows them to perform in their roles, to be creative and innovative in their roles, but also understand why their roles are important and what are those things that they have to keep doing consistently in order to make the difference that we expect from them and to get the contribution we need. So you see, by mastering self-leadership, leaders not only enhance their own capabilities, but also positively impact their teams by fostering an environment of growth, of trust, of high performance, and where people really can come to shine. So that's it from me for this episode of Performance Cafe. I hope that you've enjoyed learning more about how your self-leadership positively impacts your teams and those around you. I look forward to seeing you next time. But before I go, if you've enjoyed this episode and you'd like to see more, please do visit performforward.com as we turn all of these videos into blogs for you as well for an easy read. But I look forward to seeing you in our, sorry, John, that but was misplaced. So I'm trying not to say so. I look forward to seeing you at the next Performance Cafe, where we start digging into the characteristics of self-leadership.